I love you more. I love you most.
Yeah! Hello and welcome to episode 22 of the Decent Wrestling Show. Make sure to like, comment, share and subscribe and check out my latest videos. Recently I've posted a couple of videos. I posted an appreciation corner for Senna Shiori. Really wish you would all check that out. I was very proud of that video. I released a pretty good Grayson Waller MV, another one that I'm quite proud of, and a Cora Jade MV. There'll be more NXT 2.0 MVs in the future coming up. And I also released a Donna Del Mondo Instagram Live highlights, which is actually blown up for some reason. So thank you to all the new subscribers for that. Hit 750. So the road to 1,000 is well and truly on. So thank you for all the love on that video. And yeah, make sure to check out my MVs and enjoy the show. NXT. NXT opened this week with an excellent segment between Tommaso Ciampa and Bron Breakker, setting up their match at New Year's Evil in 2022. Just excellent mic work here from Ciampa. Cut a great promo on Bron Breakker, putting Bron Breakker over even, which was really well done. So, which is what a great promo is, for a feud, is putting the other person over, because then at least if you beat them, then you're beating someone. This is one of the problems I have with someone like The Rock, because he just puts his opponent down, so when he beats them, it kind of just doesn't really do anything for Rock and just buries their opponent. But great stuff here from Ciampa. Bron Breakker didn't need to say anything. Eventually Ciampa slapped Bron, as Bron then got Ciampa by the throat, picked him up by above his head, laughed, let him go, and then basically said, the blood is in the water, and the shark is, coming to eat you. See you in 2 weeks, champ. Just nice intensity from Bron Breakker. Excellent way to open the show. Amazing stuff between both of these guys. Haaland and Joe Gacy had an apology to Brian Kendrick. Brian Kendrick then cut a promo in response, and he will be returning to action next week to take on Haaland. He's going to get absolutely slaughtered, but it's going to be fun to see Brian Kendrick back in the ring for one more match. The first match of the night was Raquel Gonzalez taking on Dakota Kai in a street fight. 3.5 stars, just a very fun match. I'm going to count the backstage brawl before the match as part of the match. That went on for quite a while, beating each other backstage. But just a nice intense brawl between these two. Good stuff. In the end, Raquel Gonzalez picked up the victory. It was then announced, then Cora Jade came out, and Mandy Rose then was on the Titantron, looking gorgeous as always. I mean, Mandy Rose, respectfully. Nice camera trick with her, because she was in a bikini basically. A nice camera trick that she, said something about a title. Camera points down. You know what people were looking at. It set up a triple threat: Mandy Rose versus Cora Jade versus Raquel Gonzalez at New Year's Evil. I expect Mandy to retain, as she should. We then had quite a good match between the grizzled young veterans taking on the Creed brothers. A nice funny moment from Zach Gibson before the match as they were setting it up was, I hate arrogant tag teams. But this was actually a very good match. All these guys are very good performers. Just nice back and forth between these two. Creed brothers are just excellent to watch, man. And in the end, there was a brawl which caused the match to be thrown out, as Ikemen Jiro and Kushida basically came out and put themselves on Japanese commentary. There was a really funny moment where Wade Barrett was like, when they were just speaking in Japanese, and Wade Barrett goes, I disagree, so I agree with everything that Kushida said there, and I vehemently disagree with anything that Ikemen Jiro said. But in the end, there was a brawl between Creed brothers' grizzled young veterans, Kushida, Ikemen, and Brooks and Jensen. So there'll probably be an 8-man tag next week, I expect. Next up was Dexter Lumis beating up Trick Williams, 2.5 stars. Pretty fun match. Trick Williams was clearly scared of Dexter Lumis. He was cutting a promo on Dexter Lumis backstage. Dexter then showed up on the monitor, scaring Trick Williams again. Pretty fun match. Dexter Lumis picked up the victory, choking out Trick Williams, and I love that he held on to his shoe, which he was going to beat Dexter with. He was still holding on to his shoe after being passed out, which was hilarious. Grayson Waller then attacked Dexter Lumis with a chair after the match. Grayson Waller had another fun segment backstage with Indy Hartwell, making fun of Indy, saying that Grayson Waller is the way of the future. Excellent heel work from Grayson Waller. And speaking of Grayson Waller, he was involved in the next segment with AJ Styles, who showed up to NXT after Grayson called him out on social media, making fun of him for his hair, having soccer mom hair, which I believe other people have made fun of in the past as well. Great stuff between both of these. AJ Styles was excellent on the mic, calling out Grayson Waller's contradictions, but Grayson Waller was also held his own. Great heel work and narcissicity, if that's a word, from Grayson Waller, setting up a match in the future between these two, I assume. Grayson said he was going to beat up AJ Styles. AJ Styles said, do it. Grayson, in typical heel fashion, backed out and said, no, I'll wait until Omos is done with you first. But a great segment that you should definitely check out. Then we had the backstage stuff between MSK and the Shaman, Matt Riddle, who will be showing up on NXT next week. Funny stuff between these two. It's probably on YouTube, the segment, but really funny stuff. Best segment they've had with these three. And I really want to see a 6-man tag between MSK and Riddle versus Imperium, including Volta. Would be excellent stuff. And also one other thing I want to see is the Broserweights make a return to take on MSK. That would be pretty awesome. Io Shirai was at the medical facility with Zoe Stark. Legado del Fantasma interrupted and made fun of them, setting up Elektra Lopez versus Io Shirai. Great facial expressions from Io Shirai, by the way. Io Shirai picked up the victory after a distraction from Zion Quinn, who was trying to give mistletoe to Elektra Lopez, so he's still in love with Elektra. But that cost Elektra the match. Nothing major in this match, but Io picks up the victory. Von Wagner lost to Inoue, I can't remember his last name, but Inoue, and they threw a hissy fit and beat him up afterwards. Or they also teased that he could be managed by Robert Stone in the future. Main event was a 3 3/4, a great match. Pete Dunne, Petey Poppins, took on Tony D'Angelo. Great stuff between these two. I didn't expect that Tony D'Angelo has an amazing array of suplexes in his arsenal, and great near falls and false finishes. I thought it could have gone either way. In the end, Pete Dunne picked up the victory, also breaking Tony D'Angelo's fingers in the match as well, as you'd expect. Pete picked up the victory, but Tony beat up Pete Dunne afterwards and had the crowbar and smashed Pete Dunne's hand on the announce table. So good way to give a showcase to Tony D'Angelo. Pete Dunne picks up the victory, but Tony gets his heat afterwards. Great showcase for him. And I thought all of the NXT 2.0 superstars did excellently on this show, which was an excellent show to watch. I really enjoyed it. Smackdown. Smackdown opened with an interview with Paul Heyman after his public firing from Roman Reigns the week previous. It was a very well done segment with Paul Heyman pondering the end of his career after his firing, which makes me believe that he's definitely not retiring and he will be involved at day one, I assume, somehow making Roman Reigns retain. So we'll see how that develops, but it was a very nice opening. Paul Heyman is a master on the microphone, so a great opening. We opened with the Smackdown Women's Championship match. Charlotte Flair took on Toni Storm. It wasn't a great match. These two have no chemistry in the ring with each other. A lot of awkward and botchy stuff, especially Charlotte's moonsault from the top rope. Just a lot of awkward stuff that just didn't really click. There were still some points in it which were good. So it wasn't a completely awful match or a train wreck, but it just wasn't very good. In the end, after a few roll-ups, Charlotte Flair picked up the victory over Toni Storm. Next up was a 12 Days of Christmas 12-man gauntlet match, which was actually a lot of fun. I give it 3 3/4 for the whole thing altogether. Opened with Angel Garza taking on Mansoor. And, it was solid for while it lasted. Only, each match was a couple minutes till the end. Solid stuff from those two guys. Angel picked up the victory there. He then took on Eric and beat him of the Viking Raiders. Again, solid stuff between them. Shanky then beat Angel, but then lost to Ivar. Then Sheamus had a decent match with Ivar, beat him, then beat Gulak in seconds, then had Cesaro. Good stuff from Cesaro and Sheamus. Eventually Cesaro's injured ribs caught up to him and he was pinned by Sheamus, which led to Ricochet and Sheamus, and great stuff from these two, nice back and forth. In the end, Ricochet picked up the victory after the distraction from Cesaro, beat up Ridge Holland on the outside. Ricochet then had some nice stuff with Humberto and beat him, and then pinned Jinder Mahal, so good spotlight for Ricochet. He then took on Sami Zayn in the final. Nice lengthy match between these two. In the end though, Sami Zayn picked up the victory and will face Shinsuke Nakamura for the Intercontinental Championship, I expect, at day 1. But great story here with Ricochet being a nice little underdog, and a great story for him, and he got a good spotlight, so that was good. The main event was a 6-man tag street fight, Miracle on 34th Street, I believe is what it's called. Just quite good stuff, just fun, just good old-fashioned fun. Nothing too serious, but just a really fun match. A lot of stuff with Christmas trees and presents on the outside between the Usos and New Day, which was a lot of fun. In the end, eggnog was poured all over Moss and Corbin, leading to Drew McIntyre to hit the Claymore to pick up the victory. So, pretty fun holiday episode of Smackdown. Decent stuff. Monday Night Raw. We opened with the always entertaining RK Bro, who had a nice opening promo as you'd expect. Then we went on to, they had a promo with Alpha Academy, which led to Riddle and Gable and Orton and Otis both having singles matches against each other. It was decent stuff, nothing out of this world. I definitely want to see a full-on Riddle and Gable match, like 10 plus minutes. They would absolutely kill it. But the short little snippet that we got was pretty good. And after the match, beautiful moment as RK Bro, Riddle really wanted a hug from Randy Orton. Randy wasn't willing at first, but Orton said, Riddle said basically, no one's going to know, well, in the middle of the ring. Orton called him out on that, but eventually Orton caved in and gave a hug to Riddle, and then almost RK'd him. Almost. But it was all in good fun, and they hugged again. Just a beautiful moment as RK Bro are just great. They're just great. The 24/7 stuff, there was a mixed tag match with R-Truth teaming up with Tamina to take on Reginald and Dana Brooke. Reggie was actually pretty good in this, but overall it was kind of mid. It just kind of was there. The Street Profits in the RK Bronament final took on the Mysterios. Very good match, 3.5 stars. Just really fun, really good TV tag match. Montez Ford was the star, of course, as he usually is in these matches with the Profits. He was excellent, kicked out of the frog splash from Dominic, and then picked up the victory later on in the match. Dominic is still a bit green and rough around the edges, And he's not bad per se, but he's definitely still green. But still a very good match, and we'll get the Profits versus RK Bro at day 1. Damian Priest defended his United States Championship against Dolph Ziggler. We finally got a promo from Priest before the match, which was pretty good. The match itself was okay. It was nothing really special. And again, Priest got himself disqualified, which means we'll see another match between these two. He should have just blown it off here, to be honest. Kevin Owens cut a good promo, as you'd expect. He then had a back and forth with MVP, which led to the Hurt Business coming out, Cedric and Shelton. They want to reform the Hurt Business. Kevin Owens made fun of them, and then we had Kevin Owens versus Cedric Alexander. Went about 2 minutes. Kevin Owens won. It was okay. And then Shelton wanted the microphone, but Kevin Owens just stunned him instead, and that ended that. It wasn't great, but apparently Seth Rollins and Big E were pulled from the show due to testing positive, so you can't really fault them for not really having much of a plan this week for Kevin Owens. It was just definitely filler TV, but he needed to be on the show, and everyone else was not there, so you just got to do what you got to do. So really good stuff though from Grayson Waller. Showed up on Monday Night Raw, which was an awesome sight to see. He was reveling in it. He was basking in it. He's just a terrific heel. Absolutely love him. And he had a back and forth with AJ Styles. And then Commander Aziz came out. I assume Omos was pulled from the show as well. Commander Aziz and Apollo Crews came out. It was due to set up Commander Aziz versus AJ Styles. Cut to break, come back. It's Apollo Crews versus AJ Styles. Okay. I'm glad we got that though. 3.5 stars. Very good match as you'd expect from Apollo and AJ. Some good near falls, and in the end AJ Styles picked up the victory and then gave a phenomenal forearm also to Commander Aziz after the match. And little note that it was announced on NXT that on New Year's Eve it will be Grayson Waller versus AJ Styles, which was going to be amazing. And to be honest, I think Grayson Waller should win. Grayson Waller should win. It would be a huge moment for him and really build him up. Final stuff was the wedding segment. Miz and Maurice were renewing their vows. Miz tripped on his way to the ring, which was pretty funny. He then helped Maurice up the steps before she tripped. Very, very funny there. Lots of heel heat for when they were reading their vows. Funny was that Miz tried to do his in French, but failed miserably, so just did it in English instead. Edge then came out, and Eric Bischoff was also the conductor, priest. I don't know. He was there. Don't know why, but he was there. Edge then came out and then gave Miz and Maurice a brood bath, which is always fun to see. I thought it was a good segment, good final segment of a middling Raw, better than last week, but nothing amazing. Definitely, you could tell that it was last minute stuff due to people being pulled out. Not all of it made entirely amount of sense. So middling. Hopefully day one's good though. Osaka Super Wars. Stardom held this pay-per-view on the 18th of December. I didn't think it was a great pay-per-view, but it was solid enough. We opened with Syuri taking on a gauntlet of Waka Tsukiyama, Mai Sakurai and Lady C in that order. Waka was actually really good in this. She's actually becoming more of a high-speed wrestler, which is awesome to see. But I just thought she had a really good performance in this. In the end, she was killed with a kick, though. Then Mai instantly attacked Syuri, but she was beaten in quick fashion after Syuri kicked out of all of her finishes. She also kicked out of Waka's finisher as well. Lady C then came in, hit a beautiful choke slam, but eventually was pinned by Syuri as well. Or I think she was made tap out. But this was a stupid match, burying 3 talents. Just didn't need to happen. Really didn't need to happen. Just makes Mai Sakurai look like crap. Makes Lady C look like a complete loser. and also didn't do much for Waka either. Just a terrible way to open the show. But in action was fine, but just the idea of the match was horrible. The first 6-1 tag in this mini tournament between 4 teams, with the winner receiving 10 million yen, was My Himapoi. Always love to see their entrance. They took on Midvillus, which was Rin Karakora, Maria, and Takumi Iroha. The match I gave 3 stars. It was fine. It dragged a bit. Just never really clicked for me, this match. Never really got going for me. But it was still solid stuff, still a good match, and I really loved My Himapoi's work together. Their chemistry is off the charts. In the end, My Himapoi picked up the victory, as they should. Next match was Cosmic Angels, the original trio, Mina, Tam and Unagi, taking FWC, Hazuki and Koguma, and Mai Iwatani. I loved Cosmic Angels' entrance with their dance. It was amazing. I loved their dance. But this was a pretty good match. I gave it 3¼ stars. Quite good stuff. Mayu and Tam had a really nice sequence together. Those two have excellent chemistry, as you'd expect. But I really enjoyed their stuff with each other. Nasty back suplex from Tam on Hazuki. Really brutal stuff. It looked like she landed on her head. A lot of flying. Tam can fly, and I didn't botch it like Utami did. Mina then hit a beautiful cosmic forearm. I noticed Mina was excellent in this match, by the way. She was really good. In the end, though, Hazuki pinned Mina with a roll-up out of nowhere. But a really fun match. Quite good stuff. Yeah. Although I wished Cosmic Angels won, of course. The semi-final was a loser leaves faction match, elimination match. Queen's Quest took on Oedo Tai. If Oedo Tai lost, Kito would have to unmask, and if Oedo Tai won, Momo would join Oedo Tai. Great match, 3¾ really excellent stuff. Konami and Utami eliminated each other over the top rope after Utami was going to throw Konami with a hangman over the top rope, which would have been just insanely brutal, but instead they both went over the top rope and were both eliminated. I really enjoyed the stuff between Saki Kashima and Sai Kamatani. I thought they had really good chemistry in the ring and had some nice sequences. In the end as well, and they went back and forth with pinfalls that could have gone either way. Saki in the end though did pin Sai Kamatani. Izumi then made Ruaka tap out, and then instantly pinned Saki Kashima straight after, leading to a 2-on-1 with Momo and Izumi taking on Starlight Kid. There was a lot of Uedo Tai cheating to prevent Kito from losing her mask. And there was tons of great near falls on Kito and Momo. Could have gone either way. Really excellent stuff here at the end, and great false finishes. There was the worst drop kick to a chair that I've ever seen. It looked so weak. But in the end, Momo Watanabe turned on Izumi and smashed it in the head with a chair. Really cool moment, although the ethics of hitting like an 18-year-old in the head with a chair, probably not great. But this was a great match. I give it 3¾ I might give it 4-star on a rewatch. But really excellent stuff, especially on the final stretch. Great drama and action. The main event was a elimination ladder match in the finals of this 10 million yen tournament. Mai Himpoi took on FWC and Mayu Iwatani. I gave this one 4¼ stars. I hella enjoyed this. Very interesting to see a ladder match in Stardom. I hope we see a couple more. Not every month or so, but every blue moon I'd like to see one of these take place. It had a really fun start. A lot of chaotic moments. There was a massive super duper ooperplex from Maika on Mayu Iwatani. And then later in the match, Mayu hit a crazy moonsault from the absolute tippy top of the ladder. Looked insane. That eliminated Maika from the match. A lot of great back and forth action between these teams. Eventually, Koguma did an insane dive. The bear can fly. Probably my favourite moment in the match. It just in awe of that dive that she did from the top of the ladder to the outside of the ring. But eventually Koguma was eliminated with an excellent lariat from Himeka. Absolute brutal, as Poi was holding back Mayu and Hazuki from stopping the pin. So it ended up being a tag team match, 2-on-2 in a ladder match, and in the end my Himapoi came out victorious. Brilliant moment, and Poi looked super happy. They cut a small promo to close the show, and Himapoi hugged it out. So overall, pretty good show and a really great main event. Ganbare Pro. There was one match on Ganbare Pro on the 25th of December. Yes, a Christmas show, which you should check out. It was an 18-minute, 6-woman tag match, so they got a lot of time and had some great action in it. The teams were Miko Owono teaming up with Yuna Manase and Yuri to take on the amazing team of Harukaze, Moeka Haruhi, and Misa Matsu, who made an appearance. And a lot of Santa gear as well. Harukaze to me was the cutest Santa, and her little pose and then where she flicked the Santa hat back was just adorable. Misa Matsu had her long wig on for some reason. She's never wrestled in a wig before, but she wrestled in her long black hair wig. Don't know why she did that, but she looked cute as ever. Really good match. I really enjoyed Harukaze's suplex. Yuri hit her 619 correctly this time, which was awesome to see. Yumase got a good showcase of her power, and she said after the match that she wants to face Misa Matsu in a singles match. Hopefully that does take place at some point in the future. That would be awesome to see. I really want to see Misa in Ganbare, although she's staying with Actress Girls for the time being. But really great match, and great back and forth between all 6 of these ladies. All gave a great performance. Really enjoyable to see Misa Matsu in there. She got to hit her stomp as well, a crossbody. There was a double suplex meant to be done on her, but she reversed with a DDT. So a lot of great action in this. In the end, Harukaze made Yuri tap out. But definitely check this match out on Wrestle Universe. Thank you as always for listening to this episode of the Decent Wrestling Show. Again, make sure to like, comment, share and subscribe, and follow me on Twitter. And also let me know your thoughts and if you watched the entire show. And arrivederci.
짠해.